Good early morning, everybody. It's Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody's doing well. And I just want to tell you what's happened to me today. Of course, I had my early morning rant, but I didn't get to tell you what happened the rest of the day. So my lawn person came today, and when I went to pay him, somebody had stolen my checkbook and the check register and the checkbook cover. So it was stolen. Now, normally, under normal circumstances, most people would file a police report. But I'm not going to do that. Now, from now on, when these kinds of things happen, I will be filing a complaint with the Attorney General as an ongoing, documented proof of something that's going on here that needs to be addressed by a higher power. It was stolen from my bedroom. My 3 fruit trees in my inner field have been poisoned. Their leaves are falling off. The bark, there's something wrong with the bark. And there are holes in the leaves, just like those leaves that I showed you along the county road, the blackened leaves. But they're poisoning now my fruit trees that have been planted for approximately 5 years. The criminals deleted my internet connection for approximately half an hour while I was out running around the property, picking up leaves and debris and bringing them to my fire pit, etc., etc. The internet went out, and the reason I know it went out is because I had my phone with me and I was listening to a video, and then suddenly the video stops. And it stops for a long time, and then I enter my house again, and I took a screenshot of the fact that I had no internet connection, which means that the cameras weren't picking up the criminals. And then, of course, I came in. I wanted to make a cup of coffee, which is usually mostly cocoa at this time of the night. And I went to pour my newly opened creamer that I used once already. And the criminals poured ants into my creamer. So that was another form of asset stripping. And it's the second time this week that a newly opened creamer has either been emptied or poisoned with ants. And this is what's happening here in Jackson County, Kentucky. Okay, and I'm not ever going to shut up about what's happening here, how they're poisoning my trees, poisoning my property. It's evident to other people what's happening here. And the fact that they stole my check register, which is documented proof of who I paid and when, that goes back, because I only write checks to landscapers. Or if I have somebody here, like I've had the plumber here last year. But fortunately, those services always provide invoices, and all of those invoices are already accounted for on my tax returns. So that's what happened here today. So now I'm going to read an article written by one of our subscribers who also appears in our usual chat, our Saturday night chat. It's called The Silent Damage from Cognitive Erosion to Brain Injury Under Targeting. Permanent brain damage is happening to us. This is how I see it presenting. It's the complexity of read is high. He gives it a 4-star. Let me show you. It's cute. By Kevin Boykin, August 23rd, 2025. Very cute, very cute. And this beautiful little hand-painted original art is by Delshan on eBay. I often write about how my targeted mind is a battleground, and one of the weapons used is outright throttling. They limit its ability to be used at all. If tested, the change would be revealed in an IQ test, and such I have no concrete IQ. It scales according to their settings. We know that brain damage can be the result of their intrusive methods. It has been documented not only as existing, but also presenting in very identifiable and possibly original ways, leaving no doubt as to the cause. The experience? Permanent word loss. Not just tip of the tongue lapses, but total erasure from active memory. I end up having to record the word on a text document title that I keep on my PC desktop for reference if I ever want to use it again. That happens to me as well. Dampened thought. Natural clarity and flow strangled by constant interference. Moment to moment, they throttle my access to cognition. Period. Perpetrator strategy shifts. At first, thought may be quote unquote allowed. Later, the grip may tighten and enforced silence where once there was expression. Mechanisms of injury. And he documents this from ChatGPT. Chronic interference. Neural pathways repeatedly blocked from firing may weaken or atrophy. Like unused muscles, thoughts forbidden, quote unquote, enough times to stop returning. Artificial stress cycles. And this is all the stress that they deliberately induce in us, like stuffing ants in my new creamer, pouring oil, gas, whatever it was, grease on my driveway, stealing my checkbook and checkbook register and cover from my bedroom inside of a box. How would anybody know where I keep my checkbook unless I am being surveilled, remote neural monitored? Leave a comment down below. I'm curious. How would anybody know where I keep a checkbook inside of my house? Signal disruption. Directed energy or electromagnetic assaults, when repeatedly applied to the same brain regions, can degrade neural tissue just as noise exposure destroys hearing. Induced collapse, confusion, looping thoughts, and false intrusive imagery are not harmless distractions. Over time, they can carve grooves of dysfunction into the mind. So what does this mean? This is brain damage. It's not metaphorical. It's not imagined. The long-term effect of targeting is not just suppression today, but the erosion of tomorrow's mind. Targeted individuals represent some of humanity's best potential. This system is designed to crush that potential at its roots. I noticed it beginning with words today. But what don't I notice? And what will be next? Entire concepts, memory of relations? More fundamental thought processes? With the levels I'm privileged to receive, the targeting, I may be one of the best candidates to recognize and articulate the effects of brain damage, or, if they get their way, the worst. A times N plus B equals C. So I'm going to add my 2 cents, as you know I usually do. Well, this happens to me too, and I will say that, and my mother, rest her soul, she was deleted by these criminals during the CB-19 false narrative. I've always been able to articulate and use my vocabulary well. In fact, I have taught classes. I have taught classes in astrology and in borderline personality disorder and in other topics. And then I have filed multiple lawsuits. Not only after my divorce, post-divorce, but I have filed against a contractor who destroyed my patio pavers. And I was literally in court with him for a couple of years. I also had a bona fide stalker, like one person, not a cyber stalker, although I've had those, but an in-person stalker who I filed a restraining order against. He violated, took him to court. He kept taking me to court year after year after year to get it lifted. And it wasn't until the last time that this corrupt, disgusting judge and the corrupt lawyer lifted it. And of course, what happened? He contacted me the next day. So I called his lawyer up and I threatened to start all over again. And I did never hear from either one of them again. The point I'm trying to make is, to file a lawsuit, it takes a lot of time and effort. I did not have ChatGPT back then. I did it all myself, all from my brain, all from my thoughts, all from my fingers into the keyboard, and all through my personal research of the law. Now today, fast forward, I've got ChatGPT. I am targeted horrendously. Not only do I get the directed energy weapons, like my house, the interior portion of my house now, compared to outside, it's got to be 30 degrees hotter in here. And part of the reason it is hotter in my house, of course it's smaller. I have very little electrical things going on here, very low light, is because I'm being radiated. The reason I'm recording this at 1:16 a.m. is because these criminals knocked me out. They knocked me out with radio frequencies. They put me to sleep. Sometimes it's like a pause. This cannot be healthy. It can't be good for your circadian rhythms. And I do have a loss of words at times that would normally come very easily to me. And like my mother would say, it's like, I remember there was this time that when I was married, we would have these parties. We would go to each other's houses and stuff. We went to this guy, Ronnie and Doreen's, diagonally across the street. A perp ended up moving in there and cutting all their landscaping off. That's how you know when you're dealing with a perp. When they move in and they have to get rid of all your landscaping so they can see out at the targeted person, me. But anyway, we went to Ronnie and Doreen's house for a party, and my mother joined us. And Ronnie, he liked to pick on me sometimes. In relationship to my ex-husband, because, he liked to party with my ex-husband and take him away from doing his normal husband, chores or whatever. So I don't remember exactly what it was that he said to me. But my mother just turned to him and says, you really don't want to do that. You don't want Lorraine to open her mouth to you. Because when I start spewing out stuff against a person, you wish you never opened your damn mouth to me. And literally, that's the way it was in the past. And I'm a nice person, but you don't want to mess with me because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. It's not going to be good. That's all I can say. It's not going to be good. I may joke around about it and stuff, but it's not good. Because I absolutely abhor bullies, picking on anybody, cyber stalkers, criminal neighbors, harassing other people for profit, and corruption makes me literally ill. And that guy, Ronnie, they ended up getting divorced, by the way. She was the sweetest woman on the planet. Doreen was so sweet. She was so cute. She was so sweet. They had a beautiful house that was destroyed by the new perpetrators that moved in. But Ronnie was a piece of crap. I think he worked on Wall Street. I'm not exactly sure what he did. But they spent like, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000 on that swimming pool. I don't even know what happened to it. But he was not nice. He was nasty. And he would pick on me a lot, like say things. And sometimes I'd answer him back, and sometimes I wouldn't. And then I would just go off on him. So, yes, so as far as brain damage, I believe I read that what we experience with the microwaves, with the directed energy weapons, is akin to having a concussion. These are little concussions. We're being concussed. So each time we are hit, remember, there has tons of research, peer-reviewed research on damage if you hit your head. And especially when you're a young child. When parents shake a child, you know, the shaken baby syndrome, it has to do with the fluids in the brain. Falling and hitting your head, banging your head, or, you know, when parents slap you on the side of your head when you're younger, depending on the age and stuff, and how often, the frequency, if it's in the same position. Tons of peer-reviewed research on brain damage from being concussed, from being hit, from falling. It's no different what we're experiencing. We're getting hit with weapons on a daily basis. Jesse Mendoza in Texas, who is a targeted person, who has filed multiple lawsuits in the state of Texas about EMF exposure in the school systems, exposure to even law enforcement officers. Some of his research was mostly on the experience, the damage to 24/7 surveillance technology. He claims that the 24/7 surveillance technology is perhaps on the same level as, or worse, because it's 24/7 nonstop, than the directed energy weapons that we get for 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, while you're sleeping at night. Because at the same time that's happening, there is still, in effect, the surveillance technology. So we're getting a double whammy. The use of all the weapons used against us from surveillance, like the trucks that drive back and forth on the county road, or that literally are probably parked down the block from my mailbox and diagonally across the street, you know, where Jesse with the blue lights on, up that road there. That's where they all park. Then they get the little ringy dingies and they start driving around. Oh, she's outside. Let's go rev up our horns. Or, oh, there's a plane overhead. All of that surveillance technology is harmful, physically harmful. It bathes your environment. It bathes the environment of my property. Why do you think I have black leaves all over the property when it is wetter than hell? We haven't had an ounce of rain in a week. But I walk outside now and my boots get wet. My house is dripping with water. How is it that there are black leaves with holes falling from my trees? They're being burned. That's why. They are bathed in surveillance technology, pulsed microwave radiation, and electromagnetic fields. So thank you, Kevin, on writing this article, The Silent Damage from Cognitive Erosion to Brain Injury Under Targeting. He also sent me something else. Do I dare show you guys? I won't even read the words. I won't read the words because he said it's just kind of, he found it. It's just kind of fun. Just kind of fun stuff. I don't know where he found this, but I'll just show you. I'm not going to read it, by the way. So if you're listening in the background, you will have to lift up your head to see this clip. Are you able to read that? I'm not going to read it. If you see something, say something. Here you go. I didn't write that, by the way. I don't know who did. I don't know where it came from. But I think it's kind of funny. I don't, there's something about the truth being said in jest, and I'll leave it at that. Anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I've got some other topics that I want to discuss in a separate video. I really want to discuss the targeting and the false mental health imprisonment of Jessica L. Thomaston, PhD. And I'll do that in another video. Signing off for now. Please share, leave a comment down below, and thank you for the subscribers that are actually the real subscribers mentioning that you're not a bot. I appreciate that. I'll talk to you guys soon.